Hi, Dr. Renfro. How are you? I'm good. Alright, so for the video paper, I'm going to start with the first question from your assignment sheet. So what is the most important thing you've learned this term and why? The most important thing that I've learned is the Bretton Woods Conference because it allowed for currency to be adjusted to gold because there is no fixed amount for gold. This means that the two can constantly adjust based on the economy. The economy and currencies can then be on the same scale rather than being completely opposite. The Bretton Woods Conference also created the International Monetary Fund, which loaned money to countries in a balance of payments crisis. This is important because it helped countries get back on their feet when they don't have another option. And this is important because the kinds of loans that the International Monetary Fund loaned out were short-term loans, meaning that the countries that borrowed from them had to pay them back. And this is just important because it allowed them to get this money when they really needed it and they couldn't provide for it themselves. The Bretton Woods also allowed for countries to impose national control over capital flows, allowing countries to determine how investments come in and out. These rules are important for trade in respect to a country's control of their capital. Bretton Woods declared the US dollar the currency of last resort, allowing countries to hold their reserves in gold or in the US dollar, and it can be used anywhere at any time. The Bretton Woods Conference was held in 1944 after World War II. Economies were not in the best shape after World War II, so the conference was held to regulate financial order and international monetary. The war took a lot of resources from each country, so Bretton Woods delegates wanted to create a stable system to regulate the period of building economies back up. Now, the second question is what reform I would make in the U.S. economy and why. The unbalanced levels of imports and exports because the U.S. is importing at a higher rate than they are exporting. So the reform I would make is to give companies that operate solely on U.S. soil a tax incentive or a stipend as a hope to bring companies out of foreign countries, which will ultimately lower the unemployment rate because of the jobs that companies will be creating, as well as lowering the debt of the U.S. because the amount of imports will decrease. I would make this reform because the amount of citizens that are unemployed has not been this high since the 1970s. Another solution would be to create a law only allowing so many goods to be imported at a certain time. So say in a given year, the U.S. could only import X amount of goods. The United States is the world's second largest importer. The U.S. mainly imports goods, so bringing companies out of foreign countries will decrease the imports of goods because they will already be made in the U.S. So having goods made in the U.S. will just allow people to access goods right here in the country where they are made. So this will decrease many imports that the U.S. imports, and they only have to import what they need then. And that's it. So I hope you enjoy the prom dress. Notice that I did wear it, and have a good summer.